North Hollywood's gotten a little bit better. I mean, it was like, I remember it was like Thunderdome down there for a little while. There was that sign. I get out of the subway station there on North Hollywood, and I walk to the corner there of Lankershim and I forget the Burbank Boulevard. And there's that big welcome to North Hollywood, like concrete triangle pyramid thing. And some people, I assume homeless people, picked it up and like moved it into the street so they could sleep on that part of the land. Like they took this concrete structure. I don't know how many people it took to lift them, but it was like so fucked up that they moved it so far away from where it was. It just stayed there. I was like, who's going to move that back? The cops aren't going to fucking move it back. No one's touching it. So it just stayed like in this middle of the road kind of area.
That so train station was what pushed me over the top. That train station was the station that I left because my office was right there.
Yeah, sure.
We taped the podcast right there. If you get off the train and walk to the corner and cross the street and keep going straight.
I did it. That's why when I came to do your show, I did that exact thing.
You hit the office. You have no choice but to hit the office. So one afternoon, I think we did Joe McHale. I got there like at 4, and I took the long way around, just to stop on Lancashire. I was going to go to a weed store, something,
Yeah.
And I went that way, and I made a right on that. And then there's a light next to the golf store, and people cross the street in between the train. They put a coffee shop there and shit.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there minding my own business. I'm at the light, and I'm just looking around, listening to Ozzy's Boneyard or whatever the fuck it got on Sirius. And I just look over to the left, and I swear to God, I see a lady waiting for the bus, because there's a bus station there too, the train station, and then then there's cabs all the way to the corner. You get dropped off there and a cop sees you, it's a $200 ticket. You can't even get dropped off there. Yeah, that's
what Lee told me, that you found that out the hard way.
Yeah, I got a $200 ticket dropping my wife off over there one day. You can't even stop there. So I'm looking at this lady at this train. For some reason, I just looked over at this lady and I saw a fucking 4x4 hit her right on the head, and she fell onto Lancashire.
Oh, my God.
And then I go, what the fuck is that? And I see the guy start hitting people one at a time. 4 in the afternoon, they're going down. Now, you know exactly where I am at that light.
Yeah.
He's probably hit by now 3 people.
Oh, my God.
He hit a lady, and he hit like 2 guys. But he hit a chubby guy. And the chubby guy got up. Now, I'm thinking it's a crazy homeless guy, right? Like, right away, you see a stick flying. You want to assume nationalities and racisms and all this shit, right? So, like, I'm sitting there going, this has to be some crazy fucking, whatever. And next thing you know, the fat guy throws a punch, and he hits the guy. And I could see that, once people started getting hit, they started spreading. People were like, what the fuck's going on? So now the clouds parted, and I can see the true color of the sky. I see the guy with the axe handle, not the axe handle, but a 4x4. And he gets punched in the face. He kind of like loses consciousness. He looks at the chubby guy. The chubby guy picks up his suitcase and just dodges across the street. Now I see the guy with the 4x4 chasing him. He's got no T-shirt on. He's got a Warriors vest on. And he's a white dude.
My God.
So all my racist whatever went out the window, right? Like, I'm like, it was the Mexican dude. Like I thought it was like a fucking illegal or something. No, it was a white dude.
Those meth tweakers, man. Those meth tweakers.
Yeah, those meth tweakers. They'll fucking stab you in Silver Lake and shit. So I'm watching this guy go across the street. Like, he runs right in front of me, and he's chasing the chubby guy, and the chubby guy is scared because he hit him with everything he got. And fucking Rambo didn't even move. He just like was a little rattled. And the next thing you know, I go, you know what? I'm making a fucking U-turn. I'm going to hit this kid with the car because I could catch him by the office. And there's never witnesses by the office. There's never anybody by that office. Like, there's never anybody on that street. You could shoot a motherfucker in front of that funeral parlor and nobody will see you. So I made a fucking U-turn, and I made the street name is Hartsook, isn't it? I
think so.
That was where my office was. I made the left, and when I made the left, I waited for him at that corner to see where he was going to go, and I could pick him off with the car. The motherfucker saw me. He ran up, and he saw me with the car, and he turned around, and he ran back towards the train, and he hooked the fucking left back to Lancashire. And he threw the wood on the floor.
He knew you were going to run him over?
He knew I was up to something because I looked at him like, okay, just run into the street. I'm going to hit you with this car. I didn't know I was going to hit him and keep going, or I was going to hit him and dial 911 and say it was an accident and then put the 2x4 in his hand and there'd be three bodies laying around.
The witnesses will be like, this guy was running around like a Looney Tune anyway, so he just ran in the street in front of the car. That's all I said.
When I passed him, I actually looked up the corner, and that was really sad. The chubby guy was on the floor, and there was a puddle of blood laying to his head.
Oh, my God.
And I went
That's
home.
The kind of shit, dude, that I don't know. That's like, what a way to fucking go, you know? Just some guy at the train station with a 4x4.
Station. And I'm like, I went home and told my wife, I think it's time to abandon ship. And then she went to the post office, which is right down the block from there. Because if you cross that street, there's a bus station, and then there's like a coffee shop. They put a coffee shop in there. Across from the coffee shop is the post office. And along that line, there used to be homeless people. They cleaned them up. And the day she went, she couldn't get in there because one of the homeless guys stabbed the other homeless guy and was bleeding right in the fucking street right there by the post office. She's like, whoever's getting T-shirts aren't getting them this week because I went to make a fucking delivery and some guy got stabbed. The cop wouldn't let her go back there. So I'm like,
the guy who sells socks on the train just got stabbed.
You know, and like you fucking, you know, you're from Buffalo. You know, you've seen crime in Buffalo. Sometimes they tailgate and the Buffalo Bill guy will hit another guy in the head with a helmet. You know, that's Buffalo. Yeah. That's Buffalo, you know. New York City's New York City. You're going to get mugged up at the you accept that. You know what I'm saying? You accept that. You go down to Camden, New Jersey, you're going to get mugged. You know, you go to Philadelphia now, you might get hit in the head. You know what I'm saying? But that's the East Coast. We've always had that. For that, I didn't grow up watching California or going to California to see that type of stuff. I never saw that type of stuff in California.
Right, and that's why I kind of feel like I should stay. Do you know what I mean? Like it's part of the reason where I'm like, oh, I'm feeling, it's not that I'm feeling more comfortable with everything, but it is more like everyone who I felt uncomfortable around seems to be out of their element now. Whereas I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's like, you know, the crime, whatever, you know, it's homeless people, it's crime. Like I have that. You know, people used to come from New York City to Buffalo and be really sketched out. So that I always found funny because I always thought Buffalo was like a small town. You know what I mean? I never thought of it as like scary in any way. I always felt safe everywhere I went, but I'd have friends come visit and they'd be like, this is gnarly, dude. Like you live over here.
Buffalo's
like,
no joke.
So,
Buffalo's no joke. I told you I used to do Rob Lederman's room way in 98. And I used to take the bus from Port Authority up there. So I was at that bus station a couple times.
Yeah, dude.
And one day I'm in Buffalo, I'm minding my own fucking business. There was a McDonald's close to there or something, and I walked over to the McDonald's because my bus was delayed or some shit. And I bought one of those breakfast sandwiches with the potato and the fucking soda and the apple pie.